Well, now you have that great starting idea. It's just hard to put it into a full story, one that's interesting, meaningful, doable, ultimately one that passes muster for you. Now at this point, just really live life. Experience things. Don't try to think during this time, just pay attention to those experiences. How do you feel? What stories can you pick up from everyone else? Talk to your neighbors, spend time with family. Pay attention to their life experiences. Listen in to the people talking in front of you in the checkout line at the food store, or in the next booth at a restaurant, your choice. Your movie story could come from anything as simple as a saying on a Kleenex box, or your uncle's latest escapade. That's definitely true for me. Stories are all around us. You really just have to listen. You'll find it. Now, the whole time you're experiencing life, always keep in the back of your mind the thought, could I use this for a film? Actually, once you jump into being a filmmaker, you're always a filmmaker. I just can't shut it off. It's a way of life now. I'm always thinking from a director's perspective about how something could be used in a film and how this experience I'm having could benefit my latest movie. It's like at the root of my mindset. I'll get more into this in a later episode about how filmmaking affects your life. And guess what? Sometimes this is the most creative time. Maybe I'm not the only one like this. Right when I get relaxed, all the ideas and great insights from the day start to flood into my head. The problem is, it doesn't end right away. Okay, now that you have a manageable story, make sure that it is meaningful to you. Don't just copy someone else because they're successful. Sure, you can borrow ideas and reapply them to your film, but make sure that you're being yourself. The advice about having your own voice, which everyone talks about, is actually really important because it really is just being comfortable with who you are and realizing your own unique gift. If you pour your heart into it and really love your project, others will love it too, because they'll see the genuine heart in your film, and that's what matters. Talk to your family about your ideas. Really get their opinions. And don't be afraid to give up some of your ideas if they have better ones. I know. It can be sad to give up some of those ideas. Now, off to organizing your ideas. Well, fortunately there is a pre-made awesome story structure pattern to follow. I mean, it's not the only structure ever, but all great stories tend to follow this general structure, or something similar. There's the beginning, the middle, and the end. And that's how you do it. Well, there's a little more than that. The fancy name is called the 3-act structure, and each act follows a specific pattern. Okay, let's get into it. First, there's the setup, called the backstory. That's in the first act. The very first thing in the whole movie. It has to hook the audience, otherwise they'll just click away to another video. Then comes the catalyst. This is something that upsets the normal balance of life and leads to the big event, which is the game changer in the film, when the character is forced out of his normal world or ways and sets out on a mission, quest, or the like. Now remember, it doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as a guy getting up the courage to ask a girl on a date. Then following this breakthrough of the big event is the conflict and complications that follow. This is really where the character begins his process of growing and changing and being put to tests. Then there is the pinch. This is the strong midpoint of the story where the character becomes committed or the stakes are raised. Then comes the crisis. This is the dark night of the soul for the character, when he is hit by the hardest suffering and all things seem despondent as the world closes in on him. Then comes the showdown/climax of the film. This is the final test where the character is forced to the wall with nowhere to go, and he has to decide if he will fight his fears or his enemy, whatever it might be. And finally is the realization. Following the showdown is where the character finds himself and realizes his change. He goes back to the ordinary world, but nothing will ever quite be exactly the same again. The character is transformed. As a storyteller, you want to represent the human condition, and the more you know about people, the better. Really try to relate to others, comforting them and getting to know their story. We all have some pain and sorrow in our life, and as artists and filmmakers, we are there to show people how to deal with it. Our pain isn't the end. It's something we must reckon with on the journey. In film, we grow to love our characters out of empathy. We admire them, but even more, we can relate to them. Their desires, their dreams, their hopes, their spirit, their pain. A hard day isn't the end. We must endure through it, and then... I'll end with a quote from my iconic friend, Samwise Gamgee. But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass, a new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer.